Officer Jake Mills adjusted his badge with a smirk, his patrol car crawling through Oak Ridge Heights, one of the city's most prestigious neighborhoods. The morning sun gleamed off expensive cars and manicured lawns, but Jake wasn't here to admire the scenery. He was hunting. Another day, another chance to clean up this neighborhood, he muttered to himself, his eyes scanning every corner like a predator searching for prey. Jake had built his reputation on what he called proactive policing, though others whispered different names for his methods behind closed doors. His radio crackled with routine calls, but Jake ignored them. He had his own agenda today. The complaints about his conduct were piling up at the station, but Jake didn't care. He believed he was doing the community a favor, keeping the wrong kind of people out of places they didn't belong. Jake's fingers drummed impatiently on the steering wheel as he turned onto Maple Street. His supervisor had warned him about excessive force complaints, but Jake figured he was just being too soft. Some people needed to be reminded of their place, and Jake Mills was more than happy to be the one to do it. That's when Jake saw him. A tall, well-dressed black man in an expensive navy suit walking confidently toward a gleaming Mercedes parked outside the Richardson mansion. Jake's eyes narrowed as suspicion flooded his mind. What was someone like that doing in this neighborhood? Bingo, Jake whispered, quickly pulling his patrol car to the curb. He watched as the man reached into his jacket pocket, probably for keys, but Jake's twisted imagination saw something entirely different. Jake stepped out of his vehicle, his hand instinctively moving toward his weapon. "Hey! Stop right there!" He shouted across the quiet street. General Marcus Stone, a decorated 45-year-old Army officer, turned slowly, his expression calm but alert. He had just finished a morning meeting with Senator Richardson about veteran affairs and was heading back to his own home 3 blocks away. "Can I help you, officer?" Marcus asked politely, keeping his hands visible. Jake approached with swagger, his chest puffed out. "Yeah, you can help me by explaining what you're doing here. This is a private neighborhood. Let me see some identification, now." Marcus reached slowly into his jacket, maintaining eye contact with the increasingly agitated officer. "Of course, officer. I'm General Marcus Stone, United States Army. I was just meeting with Senator Richardson about I don't care what lies you're spinning." Jake interrupted, his voice rising with each word. "You think you can just walk around here like you own the place? Turn around and put your hands on the car." "Officer, there's been a misunderstanding," Marcus said calmly, his military training keeping him composed despite the escalating situation. "If you just look at my identification, you'll see I said turn around." Jake lunged forward, grabbing Marcus's arm roughly. Marcus instinctively stepped back, his reflexes kicking in. "Sir, please don't touch me. I'm a general in the United States Army. Check my credentials." But Jake was beyond reason now. He saw Marcus's defensive movement as resistance. Resisting arrest. That's it. Jake reached for his handcuffs, trying to force Marcus against the Mercedes. The physical struggle began as Marcus, trained in combat but committed to de-escalation, tried to protect himself without harming the officer. "Listen to me. I'm General Stone. Call your supervisor." The sound of screeching tires filled the air as 2 patrol cars arrived on scene. Officer Sarah Chen jumped out of the first vehicle, her eyes widening in shock. "Jake! Stop! That's General Marcus Stone." But Jake was too focused on his struggle to hear her clearly. "Help me restrain this suspect." "Jake, let him go right now," boomed a voice from behind them. Sergeant Tom Davis, Jake's supervisor, strode forward with authority. His face was pale with horror as he recognized the man Jake was manhandling. "General Stone, I am so sorry," Sergeant Davis said, his voice filled with genuine remorse. "Jake, step away immediately." Jake finally looked up, confusion replacing his rage. "What are you talking about?" Sarah Chen held up her phone, showing Jake a news article with Marcus's photo. This is General Marcus Stone, decorated war veteran and advisor to the Pentagon. He lives right here in Oak Ridge Heights. The color drained from Jake's face as the reality of his actions hit him like a freight train. Jake Mills, you're suspended pending a full investigation, Sergeant Davis declared, his voice cold as ice. Turn in your badge and weapon immediately. General Stone straightened his jacket with quiet dignity, his composure never wavering despite the ordeal. Sergeant Davis, I appreciate your swift response. However, I believe this situation calls for proper training and accountability measures. Jake stood frozen, watching his career crumble before his eyes. The complaints, the warnings, his pattern of behavior, it all caught up with him in this single moment. General Stone, on behalf of the entire department, I offer my deepest apologies, Davis said solemnly. Marcus nodded gracefully. Justice isn't about revenge, Sergeant. It's about ensuring this never happens to anyone else. As Jake walked away in shame, his badge and gun surrendered, General Stone's words echoed in the morning air. Truth had prevailed, and hope for change flickered like a flame that could never be extinguished.